Okay, as I mentioned, good afternoon and welcome to today's New Jersey Technology Council webinar. Every other week, we seek to cover news of the technology sector that the Council covers with presentations from our members and focusing on hot topics, products, and company presentations. I'm Paul Frank, Vice President of Membership for the Council, and we are pleased to bring you this webinar on the GoToWebinar platform. As you will note on your screen, you will see a GoToWebinar toolbar. At the bottom of the toolbar, there is a chat area or box. We would appreciate it if you could type any questions you have in that box, and we will get to them as time permits at the end of each presentation. And let's go to the next screen here. Today's agenda is very packed, and we're sorry we were getting a late start, but we had a couple issues with the GoToWebinar platform. We want to go, here's our agenda for the day. We'll do some upcoming NJTC events, and then we have two hot topic presentations, one from Group Intelligence and the other from Raritan Inc., a research update, and then two product profiles, one from Aster IT and the other from ZSL, and finally a company presentation from SetFocus. We'll discuss some new information or IT members who've joined the Council in the last 2 months, and have a little wrap-up question session as well. Just some upcoming events real quickly. On January 18th, the Council will be doing a CEO Executive Forum and we're calling it the CEO Toolbox on breaking into global markets, and that will be in Princeton. And then on January 19th, we have our next IT program, which is Building Smart Through Mergers and Acquisitions. And here to talk about that is Leo Mennett.
Yeah, that's going to be a regular industry network program. And I think what I'd like to ask here is if anybody has interest in speaking on this topic, to reach out to me. We still have 1 or 2 slots available.
And we'll also be, at the end of that program, be doing a partnering session between IT and telecom companies. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. Also on January 24th is our first communications program for 2012, focusing in on social media and digital rights, and that also will be in Princeton. On January 25th, we have a program. It's part of our Talent Network series of programs on Bridging the Gap, a job skills workshop in Newark at NJIT. So if you know of anyone who's in the job market, please recommend that they attend this session. It's a great event and gives them a real uphand in terms of seeking careers and that sort of thing in 2012. And then finally in January on the 27th, we'll be doing our annual Capital Conference in Princeton. That will be at the Marriott at the Floresville Village. And information on that and all these programs are on our website at njtc.org. Before we get started, I will let you know that if you hear some bumps and cracks, they're working on my window, so excuse the outside extraneous noise you may hear. Okay, our first presentation is with Peter Watts with Group Intelligence, and he is the CEO of Group Intelligence and Solutionize, and has had a long and varied career in the IT market. Peter's first business was a system integration business that he co-founded in the UK in 1974 and launched in the US in 1978 with operations in Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, Central America, and North America. It was transformed into a software business in 1994 called PlanetWorks, which was sold to IBM in 1999. Following the IBM acquisition, Peter co-founded Group Intelligence, GI, in 2000. GI is a leader in social business managed services for tech firms with 2 lines of businesses, business-to-business communities, and Solutionize, which was spun off in 2011. And Peter, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Paul.
Sure. Take it away.
So, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. For your time, and let me apologize in advance. We're on the slideshow here, so it may take a few clicks to get through the slides. But as Paul said, I have a long career in IT, and the Solutionize business is really the culmination of 30 years of trying to sell complex solutions in the marketplace. So if you could go to the next slide, please, Paul. Thank you. So the subject today is really changing how solutions are sold into the market. by nature, solutions are complex. They're combinations of hardware, software, services. The enterprise IT market is a staggering $5 trillion business globally. It's growing at 5% per annum. And there's a problem in the new world of selling is that you can't sell new things the old way. So Solutionize, which has been around, we've been building it for 10 years, and it was a cloud solution before there was a cloud market. But we leveraged the cloud technologies, mobile technology, and social business techniques in this solution that we'll show you today to change the way solutions are being sold. And if you go to the next slide, please, Paul. So our target, we call this smart selling, and our target is IT vendors, and we're trying to help their thousands of salespeople around the world move solutions into the market more efficiently and empowering them to make better discussions, better engagement with customers, really improving the buy-sell process. The overall goal is to accelerate solution revenue. And in the world that we're in today with more and more complex solution stacks, the problem gets harder and harder to bring these solutions to market. So hopefully you guys will see how we're attacking the problem. And just as a context, the type of companies we're working with right now are IBM, Microsoft, CA, Cisco, companies that have got very, very large portfolios, moving them through thousands of salespeople, thousands of partners that add different value to solutions. But most importantly, this works equally well for the small companies with one or two products to sell, because everybody needs to sell these solutions into the market today. So what we've done is to develop a single process, as you'll see as we go through the next slide, please, Paul. So the purpose of Solutionize, if you think of it as a cloud-based collaboration platform, its purpose is to connect the right sales and marketing content to the right people at the right time throughout the whole solutions buying and selling process. So what our goal is to overlay on top of the sellers is a single process with a common set of tools with on-demand sales and marketing content that's contextually organized to make it easier to sell. It's presented visually, which makes it easier to sell. We provide a communications backbone to it, so everybody in the sales network, whether it's the main vendor, a distributor, a reseller, an ISV that adds value to the solution, anybody in that sales network can communicate contextually to each other. And the outcome from that is a very powerful set of analytics that can help the sellers understand what's being sold, what the demand on the portfolio is, which channel partners are selling which products, which solutions. So the whole point of this is to create what we call a sales collaboration network. So if you go to the next slide, please, Paul. There's 5 steps to this process. If you could keep clicking through, Paul, I'm sorry, this one's a long one. The whole notion of Solutionize is really to extend your website where your current sales and marketing information resides. Step 1 of it is to move your solutions portfolio into our Solutionize cloud for the collaborative sales and marketing processes that we provide. Step 2 is to get partners to add their content, integrate that into your content. So in the cloud, you have a collaboration catalog, effectively, of your content along with your partners. At step 3, we help the sellers organize what we call expert solution configurators. And if you can think about those simply as a solution shopping cart, it gives the salespeople grips and selections of products and services that they can pick to create a solution. And then at stage 4, the salesperson can then choose from that shopping cart the products and services and information that solves the customer need, which we call a smart solution kit. If you then click on, please, Paul, the salesperson then uses that smart solution kit to do two things. Number one, to generate leads by pushing the solution map. If you see the point 4, there's effectively a map of the solution, which is the visual interface to the underlying content. Salesperson can push that out through social media to draw attention, do lead generation for their solutions. If you could click on, please, Paul. And once there is a prospect, the salesperson can use that Smart Solution Kit with customers in the sales engagement process, which could extend over 3, 6, 9 month period. As these solutions get more and more complex, the sales cycles take longer. And the strategy here is to use one common set of information between the sellers and the buyer all the way throughout the sales cycle. And because the information has got visual interface, it's used very effectively at long distance selling over the web and shortly on mobile devices. So imagine the salesperson of the future selling a complex solution by sitting with a customer face-to-face with a tablet, picking and mixing from a shopping cart, creating a proposal in real time, and having a complete sales process that's singular. It's a radical difference from what actually exists today in the market. And finally, at point 5, marketing teams can use Solutionize also to publish solutions on their own website. So you have a complete multi-channel strategy here where Solutionize can be used by the main vendor, its sales force, its reseller sales force, and the marketing groups. So if you go to the next slide, please, Paul. We use the tagline here in Solutionize of changing the view of sales. The whole purpose really is to professionalize the practice of selling, which as solutions get more complex, the salespeople are usually held in lesser and lesser regard, which is unfair and unreasonable. So one of the value props for Solutionize is to professionalize the sales process for the salesperson and let them focus on selling the customer rather than gathering information and structuring it and organizing it. So we try and take away that heavy lifting. The value prop to the main vendor is that it allows the vendor to focus on selling solutions as opposed to individual products and services, which surprisingly in an industry that's 50 years old, it's surprising that there's still a need to sell this way, but people still sell products and services individually, whereas the new market is all about solutions. So the value prop here is to help the main vendor sell solutions, help the salesperson be more professional. For the customer, the benefit to the customer is a more organized experience working with the vendor. And for business partners of the main vendor, they get these smart solution kits that can plug and play into their own individual sales processes, so they can resell and represent the main vendor more simply. And if you could just move on, please, Paul. And almost at the end here, this is an example of what these smart catalogs look like. This is the example we're showing here is IBM's cloud solutions. There are about 40 hardware products, 11 software products, a number of services, a number of presentations, case studies, white papers, etc., all organized in a very, very singular fashion, as you can see on the right of the screen. And the aggregate of all of these catalogs from all of these vendors is really an intelligent search engine that allows anybody in the sales network to see what individual components and what combined solutions are available for sale. So we're really overlaying a discipline and a process on all of the vendors in these sales collaboration networks. And it ends up giving everybody in that network maximum agility and faster time to a solution and faster time to revenue. If you go on, please, Paul. I think it's the final slide here. Microsoft partners, there's about 500,000 Microsoft business partners in the US and around 800,000 worldwide, I believe. And this was written in the Microsoft Partner Magazine about our company. And you'll get a link to it on the website where Paul leaves these slides. The article is very interesting. It basically says we fill some gaps in the market by providing this sort of overlay, and they call it an enablement gear, which it really is. And it's the single biggest slowdown and restriction in today's sales cycle. Last slide, I think, Paul, please. And if you could step through that one, there's 3 or 4 iterations. The way we implement this is very interesting. We say to customers, day one, let us solutionize a very small part of your portfolio. We'll do that for free. It allows us to get to know each other, and it allows you to start using it. Within a week, we'll move a whole solution with your business partners into a form that your salespeople can use. And within a month, we'll mobilize and solutionize your whole solution portfolio. And that's pretty much the presentation. And if you just think of this as enablement as a service, is really what we're doing for the market. We're just helping syndicate and organize sales and marketing information to be used more efficiently by anybody all the way through that sales cycle. And at that, I think I'm up to my 10 minutes. So thank you very much. And thanks, Paul, for the opportunity. And thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, Peter. We appreciate it. Our next presentation is from James Serwinski with Raritan, Inc. James manages the Raritan Data Center Infrastructure Management Suite, including award-winning products DC Track and Power IQ. The suite offers data center managers informed capacity management, accurate asset management, flexible change management, and efficient energy management. He holds an MBA from Rutgers Graduate School of Management and a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Drexel University. He is a member of Beta Gamma Sigma and Eta Kappa Nu honor societies. James, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon.
Oh, great. Take it away.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. And what I just want to first start off with is, what are we talking about when we talk about accurate asset management? So assets, we're talking about servers, routers, and switches. And when we talk about data centers, we're talking about the large buildings that have thousands of racks, each rack containing maybe 20 to 40 assets, servers, routers, and switches. And so it's these assets that we're talking about that are running your applications that you might be using on your iPhone or your iPad. So it's very important. So why is it important to have accurate asset information? Well, just from that explanation I gave you, I think it's intuitive that it makes sense that you want to track this accurately versus not track it. But it always comes down to dollars and cents. And assets such as servers, routers, and switches are very expensive equipment. And so if you can accurately track those assets, then you can be much more efficient in your operations and therefore reduce your operating expenses by automating manual tasks. It's also true that if you know the assets that you have, so you're accurately tracking the assets you have and where they're located, so you can install more equipment, more assets into an existing facility, then you can get better utilization of your facility and therefore reduce or defer capital expenditures and delay those expenditures of building a new room for your data center maybe by 3 years. So we're talking about big money involved in doing this accurately. So Paul, go to the next slide, please. So the current attempt is to use RFID, and this process calls for barcoding assets when you receive them and entering the information about these assets in the database. The RFID technology automatically verifies where that asset is deployed within that data center in terms of the rack location. So think of a big building and you know it's in a rack, but you don't know exactly where it is in a rack. And that's some of the shortcomings is where is it located within that rack is important, and you cannot do that with RFID. You also have no visual confirmation when someone is deploying that asset in the rack as to whether they're deploying it in the correct location or not deploying in the correct location. Asset tags that are used with RFID have expensive batteries that need to be replaced. And so although this is a reasonable way of improving accurate asset management, it has a number of shortcomings. Next slide. Intelligent asset management system is a better attempt. So we've looked at the cabinet, and we see the cabinet as the last dumb data center component, and it's about to get smarter. So next slide. The intelligent asset management system can locate assets to exact rack and U position. So what we're showing you there is a rack, and there's typically 42 U position slots in that rack, and an intelligent asset management system can not only tell you what rack the equipment is in, the asset, but what slot it's in. It also gives you visual feedback in terms of color LEDs at each U space, so they can verify where you should put equipment and where you can deinstall equipment from. And together, this can be integrated with a software package that can manage the change control process. Next slide. How it works. There's an asset tag that has a chip with an asset ID, and that little magnet you're seeing there on the left connects to the rack at the U position where the server is deployed, and the item to the right is connected to the actual IT device and server that you're installing. So next slide. That connects to a larger asset management strip. So this asset management strip can magnetically connect to a rack, and it can match the exact height of a rack, whether it's 42U to 54U, and it provides an easy magnetic beveled slot that you can connect the asset tag to when you connect the other end of the asset tag to the server. But what's new is that we have multi-color LEDs that can indicate action that's being performed at the rack. Next slide. So what is the real use cases? How does it make me more efficient in my operations? How does it make me better utilize my assets? It's because now you can have an authorized installation, and so the work order telling the data center technician to install an item in the cabinet can now not only tell them what the item is and where to put it, but can indicate the asset sensor blinking color. So when a person's walking through this large data center, they can look for the light and say, that's where I put the server. And when they connect that server, the blinking light can indicate that it's been put in the correct location. This can also be duplicated for authorized removals. And if you have unauthorized installation or removal, that is tracked in the higher level system, so you can understand that equipment has been installed when it was not authorized, or equipment has been removed when it's not authorized, and so you can reconcile that action at the rack in the data center with your database. Next slide. And this is just a screenshot where you would see the warnings of when equipment has not been installed in the correct location. Next slide. So the intelligent asset management system is better than the current model, which is RFID, because it can tell you the exact U position within a rack. It can give you visual feedback to the data center technician as to where to install the server or where to remove a server. And it has zero maintenance in that it's not powered by a battery. It is connected to the rack power distribution unit for its power source. Next slide. And that completes my presentation on intelligent asset management systems.
Thank you very much, James. We have one question for you. Mobile environments are growing at a rapid pace. Does your company have any solutions to address the needs of customers with respect to mobile assets and their costs?
Our solution is targeted at data centers. So not managing the equipment that's deployed in an enterprise, such as smartphones.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation. Some quick research update. Here are some news from some of the educational institutions that belong to NJIT. NJTC. At NJIT, researchers have published news of success with robots as a learning tool. NJIT researchers who have in the past helped hundreds of science, mathematics, and technology teachers in New Jersey improve how students learn have published a chapter about their success using robotics as both a motivational and learning tool. Robotics as an effective tool and motivation for learning was published in Innovation 2011, a publication of the International Network for Engineering and Education Research. Also, there's a new project at NYIT to teach wireless technology through applications in healthcare. NYIT professors are using wireless technology to make connections between healthcare, education, and engineering with the help of a federal grant to enhance the curriculum of electrical and computer engineering. The National Science Foundation awarded the $135,000 grant that allows students to explore the potential of wireless technology in biomedical applications. Also, the Council is working very closely with Princeton Plasma Physics Lab and Rutgers University on a Mid-Atlantic Green Survey. We did this survey in 2009, and we're doing it again to contrast and compare the responses from 2009 to the current state of affairs in terms of how Mid-Atlantic businesses and organizations have developed and implemented green practices. And the deadline for the survey is the end of January. You probably have received some emails about that. We certainly would encourage you to participate on it. If you can copy that link down at the bottom of the page, www.surveymonkey.com/s/green company. You can go there and take the survey. We would certainly appreciate it. Hold on one sec. Okay, James, I think I have one more question for you. I'm not sure. How does your product compare to Maximo that IBM offers? Okay. Well, let's move on, and maybe we can find out that answer later on. Our next presentation is from Nathan Lin. Whoops, sorry. Who's Director of Business Development at Aster Analytics. And Nathan has had been a highly successful sales leader for more than 15 years, supporting and delighting clients while working in the sales and business development areas. Prior to Aster, Nathan was at Connotate, a web collection data monitoring company, the Physician Desk Reference, PDR, Thomson Reuters company, providing marketing programs and digital solutions for the world's largest pharmaceutical organizations. Prior to PDR, Nathan worked at Heartbeat Digital, where he specialized in web solutions for healthcare companies focused on direct-to-physician and direct-to-consumer marketing campaigns. While at Immediate Corporation, he was successful in conceptualizing Microsoft-based solutions for the pharmaceutical industry and selling these solutions to a broad client base. A graduate of Rutgers, Nathan lives in West Orange with his wife and 3 children. Nathan, are you there?
I am. Thank you. Welcome, everybody.
Sure.
Appreciate your time. If we can move to the next slide, we'll be brief. Just a little bit about our organization, Aster. We were founded over 10 years ago, and over that short period of time, we've grown significantly. And not only have we won awards, but some of our clients have won awards as well. And some of our clients who have led projects that we've been engaged with have actually won individual awards as well. So we're pretty excited about the work we do here, and we know that our clients are as well. Next slide. Our focus is simply around analytics and reporting. And from there, you can see that our core business can be broken down into many different subsegments, everything from lead management, segmentation, campaign management, benchmark survey, which we're going to focus on today, but online asset assessments, as well as event analysis, and even share of wallet. All things that are necessary for you to run your business successfully. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we're going to focus our time on our benchmark survey solution. We put it in a case study format so it's easy for you guys to follow along. The client had several objectives when we met with them, and what they wanted to do was to be able to understand what was going on in the marketplace and utilize our solution for their product management and product development teams. They wanted to look at their top customer relationships and strengthen them with several value-add services that they determined was we needed to put together an online tool that would help them, again, with analytics, trend reporting, and then develop a recommendation engine. What we did was we took a survey that was currently being conducted via phone calls, sitting down with clients, and then taking all of those results and then sending them off, and then several months later, having the results come back with a recommendation. We decided we can do much better. What we did was we put together an online survey that would help collect and analyze the responses. We built some flexible reporting for our clients so that they can see trending year over year and be able to respond accordingly. It also had an auto-generated recommendations engine built in. So based upon the responses that the customer gave during the survey, an individualized report was generated. This led the client to use this as a sales lead to be able to go back to their clients with this information and be able to foster deeper relationships and find potential opportunities to upsell them. Next slide. The great benefits that they walked away with were that it in fact positioned this client as a strategic partner with their customers. In return for taking the time to go through the survey, the client received a wonderful recommendations document that was personalized. You can think about it as a little sample of free consulting. It also bridged the gap between marketing and sales that oftentimes exists, because all of this information was being collected from a marketing standpoint and put right directly into the hands of the sales organization. It created client awareness, not only their current, but also their future needs. Again, we are helping them collect information directly from the clients. It also enabled an accurate measure of share of wallet. All in all, it delivered qualified sales leads that enabled a creation of a product and solution roadmap. We've also put together a couple screenshots so that you can visually see what we've put together. Everything from, on the left-hand side, you see very simple and elegant layout for a client to log in and interact and create the performance benchmark survey, and then allow questions to be answered. And then on the right-hand side, you can see some samples of some reports that were generated so that the client could see year over year, month over month, survey over survey, and even looking at individual survey reports or even survey reports through visual graphs and different types of representation of how well the survey was being produced. The next slide shows you an example of the recommendations report that was automatically generated through the survey tool. This just shows you a quick example of some calculations that were generated and some information that was customized directly for the client and gives them a great assessment of how well they're doing in the marketplace. And this was given then to the sales team to then be able to schedule a meeting with the client and go through this together. The salesperson was then also able to offer up recommendations of other products that they could offer the client to fill those gaps. So in conclusion, we stand ready to help with clients that are looking towards using our survey platform with automated recommendations engine to really understand and help their clients be successful by learning a little bit more about what's going on within their business and then providing customized solutions to make them even more successful. So without any further ado, I want to thank you for your time. I think I've kept to the allotted time, and I will be available for questions now, or you can email me directly.
Great. Thank you very much, Nathan. We really appreciate it. Our next product presentation is with Bharat Yadla, who's Practice Head of Social Commerce and Cloud Integration Solutions at ZSL. Are you there, Bharat?
Yes, Paul.
Hi, great.
All right. So thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. So today I just wanted to go through one of our solutions, which is personalized shopping experience for social commerce. So can you get to the next slide, Paul? About ZSL. ZSL is in business over 15 years. It's a global technology integrator and business solution provider. 4,000 people spread across global. So that's in short. Next slide, Paul, please. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So if you look at how social media has been exploding in the social commerce area, I mean, it's kind of exploded quite a bit in the last few years. This is a Forrester slide which indicates that era of social commerce has actually begun in 2011. So that's what is an indication. I just want to go and share some snippets of how the market is going and then just go into the product. Next slide, Paul, please. This is a Booz report which says it is a $30 billion market, but whereas IBM says it's a $78 billion market, it doesn't really matter. But at that large side of the market cap, it's basically the rate at which it is growing. Using the social media for the commerce and then the content, it's actually disrupting the some of the key ways that we do the commerce. Next slide, Paul. So if you look at how the explosion happened in social media is basically because of three different factors. It triggered the three different areas. One is the spending power, influence, and the social activity. So this is, again, from Nielsen, very recent report, but the key thing which is there is what it indicates is, in summary, the way that the social influence is actually changing the purchasing decisions and then the buying power. That's kind of thing that we're talking this slide. Next slide, Paul. So what essentially is a social commerce? When we talk about social commerce, there are a number of definitions, but then what I just wanted to quickly snatch onto is basically, a definition by Dr. Paul Maston. What he said is it's a conjunction of e-commerce and social media put together. That's what is powering the social commerce. And we just leeching onto that same definition. And we have developed a solution which is basically called as a SmartPrise social commerce, which I'll just go through in a bit. Next slide, Paul. So what did all this explosion do? It actually triggered two different points. One thing which is there is it traditionally changed the way that we did the business. Previously, we used to have all the users come to the websites, whether it is retail or the media or the travel or whatever that is. Users used to come to the website and then you provide the content and people used to act on it and then make a purchase decision. However, the key thing that has changed that is being changed by the social media is you take the content to where the users are. That's the kind of a paradigm shift, and that's kind of a disruption. So that kind of triggered two different things. One thing, which is a multi-channel strategy that anybody cannot ignore, which is basically taking the stores to a mobile or taking the stores to Facebook. And the second thing, which is providing the very relevant content. Next slide, please, Paul. Can you go to the next slide? So here, when we look at there's a very interesting insight that we actually have observed. What we did observe is being relevant on the website is equally important. That's where I was talking about the personalized recommendations as a second factor. Till last year, when the interesting thing which we observed is till last year, people were searching on Google as a starting point for anything they wanted to find. But then last year onwards, there's a significant increase in terms of people going directly to the websites and then talking about a lot of stuff and then trying to find the relevant content. That's what is indicated on the left-hand side. And whereas the marketers, they feel that from a product recommendation standpoint, unless the content is kind of relevant and shown in the form of the very relevant recommendations to the users when they land up, especially on the retail side. That's going to trigger a lot of transactability and a lot of increase in the average order value, which is what retailers would look for. So this is what is the case, kind of a key cue that we picked up, and then we developed a solution which is a social commerce solution, which is what I would want to go through in the next few slides. So Paul, can you go to the next slide? So this slide indicates out of the product recommendations, the key areas where the recommendations get affected is basically when friends influence, and that's exactly what we're talking to summarize this, though it talks about a lot in terms of social shopping and then also in terms of how the friends influence the purchasing decisions and buying power. The key thing that we're talking about is recommendations from a trusted people, recommendations from people who you know is the one influencing factor that kind of influences the purchasing and the buying decision. Next slide, please. This again reiterating the same thing, but then it's more precise from the consumer survey that's been done by Nielsen. Next slide, please, Paul. Next slide, please, Paul. So this is the solution that we talked about. The way that we visualize is the same way that Dr. Paul Maston has put. There are 6 dimensions in this whole social commerce. From all the way from ratings and reviews, social shopping, recommendations, social media optimization, and ads and social applications. But then our focus is completely based on the recommendations piece of the social commerce, and that's where what we're trying to do is we're trying to use that recommendations, operate in the recommendations area to provide very personalized and relevant recommendations to the users, be it a retail or be it online media. These are the 2 things that we're talking about. Next slide, Paul. So using, how do we do that? The way that we do it is basically there is an engine that we developed. That's a technology that we internally developed at ZSL. It's called, it's a personalized and social recommendation engine. Using that, we target 3 different things. One is increasing the consumer acquisition for the retail and online media, then consumer engagement, and increasing the transactability or monetization or the average order value, depending on whether it is retail or online media. That's what, those are the 3 business problems that we address. Next slide, Paul. So this just in summary indicates the way that we actually do it. This is the recommendation engine that we actually have developed as a technology, and we developed a consumer application which is called MyBuntu. It's a very proprietary technology for us. MyBuntu is a very similar application. It's a smart personal assistant, very similar application to Siri that powers iPhone 4S. We have launched that product, and then we are using leveraging the same technology to go ahead and then power the retail and the online media sites. Essentially, what we're talking about is using the MyBuntu relevance engine. We go ahead and then operate behind the scenes for the retail and the online media web properties to source the very relevant and personalized recommendations. Whereby what we're saying is we would go ahead and increase the new consumer acquisition base anywhere between 15 to 20%, and then what we observed is even the average order value actually goes by 30 to 50%. So the key thing that if you look at it here is like the MyBuntu engine is actually powering these B2C enterprises into multiple sites. Which it could be web properties, it could be Facebook stores, or it could be the mobile stores as well. Next slide, Paul. Just diving into the deep guts of the product, at a very high level, right? The personalized and social recommendation engine actually the way that personalized recommendations are actually driven is basically based on intent-based and a context-based. It is predominantly intent and context-driven. So the way that it works is there are 9 different parameters, and then what we do is we use a proprietary and heuristic algorithms. Includes artificial intelligence, semantics, then the natural language understanding, and use these 9 different unique parameters to power what we call as a relevance graph for a user. And using the relevance graph for the user, we go ahead and serve the very relevant recommendations from the catalog of the retail or the content of the online media. Could be opinions, could be coupons, or any personalized content that we are talking about. So that's how the product works. Can you go to the next slide, Paul? So this is the demo store that we developed. You can actually go to the URL that is actually shown in the picture as well, smartprice.glowmonster.com. So that's a demo store. So this is a fashion and accessories store. Just show you how the product works. Keep clicking the ball. So what happens is when I just look at, I'm just looking for Fendi sunglasses under $100, I can just go ahead and straight in natural language. It's not just keyword based. You can do it keyword, or you can go ahead in the natural language base. When as a user, when the user lands on the store and then just goes and gives this query and then goes for a search, behind the scenes, the Mybantu recommendation engine does all the work and then just goes and picks up the very relevant items. Whether you wanted to, whether you go ahead and then classify it for cross-sell and upsell, brings up the relevant recommendations to the user. In this case, it brought up the relevant recommendations from the catalog of the store, and not only that, it actually went ahead and then just added the social widgets, which we call, which powers the social influence in the bottom. Click next, Paul. In this case, I picked up this first sunglass. I just want to go ahead and then get an opinion. This is where what it does, what our product does is, it goes into the social media sites like Twitter, friend feed, and things like that, including Facebook, and brings in the relevant information from the conversations that are actually happening on this particular product. So this is where the whole relevance keeps acting on. And wherever we are talking about, whether it could be opinion, could be coupons, or it could be kind of sharing onto the Facebook, everywhere the recommendation engine and behind the scenes keeps acting in, and then provides very targeted and personalized content when the users are there on the store. Next, Paul. And not just that, the other one which is there is, even for, like, for example, if you're looking at a product, many of the times when you're searching on the product to provide relevant content, the basic thing which is there is, one is a search. The other one which is there on the website is basically, if you look at the product, I like this particular type of sunglasses, but I'm not too sure whether this is the one which I like. I'm just liking that type of thing, which is like what we call as a find similar. That's another widget which actually uses dynamic semantics. Click next, Paul. Brings up the very relevant semantics associated with each of the products. These are dynamically generated from the product attributes and things like that. So it brings up, and then based on that, you can actually turn it, and then what we call as a pivoted search. Instead of the faceted search, you do the pivoted search and provide very relevant content to the user, thereby expediting the purchase decision or the buyer purchase decision. Next, Paul. So essentially, to summarize, what we're talking about is using the personalized and recommendation engine, we are providing a personalization solution for e-commerce and online media, the two different verticals that we focus on. One is for the retail, and then the online media as well. So I'll be more than happy to go, and dive into deeper insights. My information is there. Go to the next slide, Paul. So
great, thanks.
Feel free to contact me. And thank you very much for the opportunity, Paul, and thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, Bharat. We really appreciate it. Okay, our final presentation is Jerry Mason with SetFocus. Jerry is president of SetFocus, a management consultancy, which is Compass Scale. And Mason has over 30 years of experience in building global organizations along with financial, human resources, sales, and technology disciplines. He has led business-centric staff functions, and his specific interest and expertise is in the area of blended resource engagement management. Jerry, are you there?
I am here, Paul.
Okay, great. Take it away, please.
Okay, wonderful. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try and be brief in my remarks as we're coming up to 1 o'clock. So, Paul, if you want to go to the next slide, please. As Paul mentioned, I am president of SetFocus. SetFocus is a school for software development professionals. We bridge the gap between talent and opportunity by focusing on learning, growth, and job sustainability. SetFocus is a former member of the New Jersey Technology Council. We recently renewed our membership. Very happy to be part of the council once again. We've been in business for nearly 15 years, and our specific product offering is we deliver training to IT professionals in the area of .NET, SQL Server, SharePoint, and business intelligence. We train professionals who need to either reskill in those areas, want to acquire new skills. Once the training is done, we then work with the folks and help them get jobs throughout the United States. We are a nationwide provider of training services and are based in Parsippany, New Jersey. Next slide, please, Paul. Essentially, our offerings are made up, again, of 4 tracks, as I mentioned before: .NET, SQL Server, Business Intelligence, SharePoint. These programs have been created by IT professionals for IT professionals. Our students go through a very rigorous selection process prior to coming into the program. We focus on marketplace skills gaps. We do extensive code review, labs, and exams to track and reinforce technical knowledge of the students coming through the program. These programs allow us to then build collaboration and communication skills for our students. As an example, we currently have 80 students matriculating through our programs. At the end of our training programs, prior to graduation and through graduation, we work with our students through career coaching and workshops to help develop their job skills and personal marketing skills. And over our 15 years, we've built a nationwide network of employers and connection with recruiters that help get our graduates jobs after their graduation. Paul, next slide, please. We have 2 training delivery options. We do training at our state-of-the-art facility here in Parsippany, but primarily our training is delivered remotely through a proprietary video conferencing system that we call the Grid. This allows us to deliver live, face-to-face instructor-led training to our students. As I note in the slide, the interesting piece about the Grid, it gives all of the nuances and interaction of a classroom with the convenience of the internet. We have students that go to our program full-time and part-time. Full-time is Monday through Friday. Our part-time programs generally are 3 evenings during the week. And the students are directly in a classroom with their co-students along with the instructor, and it offers a very neat and interactive learning experience. Next slide, Paul, please. Give you a profile of our students. 80% of our students hold their bachelor's degree, 18% a master's degree or higher. 55% have 7 or more years of work experience, and 18% have 20 or more years of work experience. Paul, the next slide, please. The interesting secret sauce of SetFocus is what we do in the placement area. Over the years that we've been offering training, 82% of our graduates have received jobs in our .NET track, 85% in our SQL track, 81% in our Business Intelligence track, and 80% in SharePoint. For those of you who are familiar with placement statistics for education and training providers, these are off-the-scale performance criteria. So we're very, very proud about what we've done in terms of getting our graduates jobs. Interesting piece, 71% of individuals who engaged with our career services group attained a position within 13 weeks of the start of training, and 10% have gotten jobs prior to graduation. Some interesting statistics in that area. Next slide, Paul. This is something we feel very strongly about. As a matter of fact, we've introduced this program over the summer. I actually had a meeting with the New Jersey Department of Labor Commissioner yesterday to introduce our free training portal. I'm a former CIO, so I feel fairly strongly about what IT folks do, but I also believe that good jobs in IT are not necessarily the domain just of IT professionals. We're expanding our training programs to the larger encumbered or unemployed workforce in New Jersey and elsewhere, and we're starting to do that by offering free training through our free training portal, as I mentioned here. And I think it's probably up to about 200 modules and well over 150 hours of free training that we're currently offering through this site, very focused on object-oriented concepts, relational database, business intelligence, and SharePoint. And what we're looking to do is to be able to offer our form of training to the non-traditional IT professional, or quite frankly, perhaps people who are not IT professionals, ultimately with the intent of getting them a job. 3% unemployment in IT, about 8.6% or so in New Jersey. We think we have a very good process to get unemployed workers jobs. We're also very proud to be participating with the Council's efforts with the Talent and Entrepreneurship Talent Network. We'll continue those efforts into 2012. And that's essentially it. We're committed to learning growth and job sustainability. My contact information is there. Great pleasure presenting to you folks today.
Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate it. Real quickly, here are some of the new information technology members who have joined the Council in the past 2 months. Real quickly, Big Ocean Technologies in Point Pleasant, BizSlate in New York City, Caspian Group in Philadelphia, Domain in Princeton, Fintelligent in Berkeley Heights, Intelligent Building Solutions in Totowa, Empower Financial LLC in Chester, New Jersey, also known as Cash Flow Navigator, Envision in Camden, OneSource Network in San Antonio, Texas, Pomeroy in Hebron, Kentucky, and Technics in Jackson, New Jersey. And we certainly appreciate all these companies joining the council. Some upcoming webinars that we have, January 10th, Life Sciences, January 25th, Environment and Energy, and February 7th, Telecom and Media. We'll also be doing work group webinars. It's not on this slide, but tomorrow we're actually doing one on biomarkers and diagnostics at noontime if you're interested in that. And then on January 18th, we'll be focusing in on international and international trade. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and thanks to our presenters. The New Jersey Technology Council provides business support, networking opportunities, information, advocacy, and recognition of technology companies and their leaders. This webinar is just one of the many offerings, and if you are not a member, we encourage you to check out our website at njtc. It will be a short poll, and we encourage you to give us your input so that we can improve these offerings in the future. Thanks again for your participation. Happy holidays to everybody, and this will conclude the webinar, and have a great day. Thank you very much.